There is a growing industry of self-help, but a lot less focus is being put on helping others. There's no section of books known as helping others. But I believe that self-improvement happens as a byproduct of taking responsibility. Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Fashion Tales. I am Paras Chavda, the host for the show. In this podcast, I interview some of the most successful people in diverse fields who can share their story and help you to discover and pursue your passion and purpose. If you are looking for the answers to the questions like how to find my passion, how to have a fulfilling career, or how do I follow the path of my passion, then this is definitely going to help you. Today, I'm not going to interview anyone, but I'm going to talk about something known as accountability. I'm going to talk about what it is and what perception do we generally have of accountability and how it is very wrong and how can we develop a better perception of it. And I would like to talk about how accountability helps us in our own growth, achieving our goals in time, and being a better person whom others can trust. So let's dive into it. So I'm going to start off by talking about what accountability is. So when you Google the term accountability and you look for its definition, the Google describes it as being accountable to someone or being responsible and answerable to others. So that's what it says accountability is. So I'm going to explain this to you in simple terms. So when you take up a responsibility or ownership of some task, and when you are answerable to someone for it, that is what accountability is basically. For example, a boss gives you a task and you have to finish that task in some time. You can't be just chill about it that, okay, I'll do it on the weekend or maybe I'll do it some other day. You have to do it on time because there is some accountability there. Obviously, you are getting paid for it. But another thing is that they have some trust in you that you are going to finish this on time. You are answerable to them. So that is what accountability is. Now I see that most of people I meet have very wrong perception about accountability. People usually have this tendency to run away from it. I see people getting self-employed, building their own business just because they don't want to be accountable to others, which I think is a very wrong reason to start something of your own. They feel that they are restricted in some way in being accountable to others, and this is a general human tendency because accountability brings some positive pressure. A tinge of pressure is there, but I think that tinge of pressure is necessary in life. Since the childhood only, we have been accountable to others. We have been accountable to our teachers to get our projects done, to get our homework done. And we have been accountable to our parents to get good marks. If it weren't for them, I'm sure most of us would have not done anything for ourselves when we were a kid. And we were accountable to our peers also. Like we built friendships this way by being accountable to them. For example, you brought a Maggie someday and your friend liked it. He would tell you to, hey, can you bring Maggie again on Wednesday? And you promise them, right? And you remember it. Or you remember it on Wednesday, you go tell your mom that, hey mom, can you make me Maggie on Wednesday? And you bring it. And that is what brings trust in the friendship. It strengthens your relationship. Otherwise, we have relationships that lack trust if we don't deliver on our promises consistently. And the same thing goes when we grow up. If we are doing a job, we are accountable to our managers or to our colleagues, right? If we do something of our own, now the illusion that people have that if you are doing something of your own, you are your own boss and you are not answerable to anyone. But that is not the case. When you are your own boss, when you are doing something of your own, you are answerable to your clients. If you don't have clients, you have no business, right? We humans are social animals. And our brain is wired in such a way that accountability, being accountable to others or having these promises brings a little bit of pressure on us, which I call is a positive pressure to do things which are right and to do things on the time. Being social animals, we want to conform, we want to remain a part of the group. Now I want to talk about how we can use this accountability for our own benefit. And now I know that we have talked about how accountability helps if we are being accountable to our bosses, if we are being accountable to our colleagues in our company, it helps the company, right? But now I'm going to talk about how does accountability can help us in our own endeavors, like build our own business or having maybe a YouTube channel of your, because there's no accountability there, right? We are doing some things, there are some things that we are doing for ourselves, and there is no accountability there. So how can we bring in accountability in these areas of our life and maybe progress, have a growth at a better pace? I'm going to give an example of Jeetu Bhaiya. So Jeetu Bhaiya from Kota Factory, web series by TVA. So he wanted to quit smoking, but every time he promised himself that he won't smoke from now on, he failed. He would always found himself smoking again in another week or maybe 2 weeks max, but he wasn't able to build that self-control that was needed. What he did was he announced to the world, to everyone he knew, to his friends, family, to his panwala maybe, that he won't smoke from now on. Now that is something that built a commitment to the outside world which was not previously present. So it built a kind of a pressure on him to maintain that reputation, to maintain that promise that he had done with others. So this is what had helped him successfully quit smoking. So the same goes with movie production houses. So most of them announce the release date of the movies way before shooting for the movie has even started. This is what builds a positive pressure on the workforce to meet the deadlines, to get things done on time. And that's how accountability helps them. Now I'm going to talk about how I use accountability hacks to improve my own life. When I was starting this podcast, after a few episodes, I found myself lacking that motivation to continue. Since I did most of my work on weekends for recording the podcast, I would always found myself starting the day late around 7 or 8 p.m. and I would waste most of my weekend on menial things like watching movies or just watching endless videos on YouTube. The idea that I had was to build an accountability group. I reached out to few other people who wanted to launch their own podcast. I knew some of them. I made a plan to organize this 1 hour call on every weekend in the morning to achieve some tasks together on that call. That will give us some good head start for the day. To be honest, this worked out pretty well and I still do this to this date. When we are on the call, we discuss that, we promise to each other that this is what we are going to do in this next hour, and at the end of the call we discuss if we were able to do it, what were the roadblocks that we encountered, etc, etc. So this is how it builds accountability for achieving our own goals. This is not some task given by to us through others, our boss or something, but we are doing this for ourselves. But by forming this group, we still are able to build an accountability to achieve these. Some other benefits that I got out of this accountability group is the feedback that we got about, we discuss how we can improve our podcast, we get ideas from different minds, so that also helps. And it kind of creates a zone of like-minded people. When we are in school or when we are in college, usually we are surrounded by like-minded people because they have the same goals, right? In school, we have students around us who are also working for getting good grades, and in college we have students around us who want to get good jobs. In the same way, after college we should take that extra step to find those like-minded people who are on the same track, who want to do things that you are also looking to do. Another thing that is important about being accountable to others: own up your mistakes when you mess up. I'm going to talk about myself, that how I do it. Whenever I do something wrong at office, I do put it out on the team channel or group, whatever you call it, that this is how I messed up and this is how I plan to be careful from next time. So I do put this out on the channel. So the reason for me to do this is because of 3 benefits it has. One, it is that I would be more careful from next time. Otherwise, I think even if we do some mistakes and we don't own them up and we think that we are not going to get caught, there are high chances that you are going to repeat the mistake again. Since you think that you won't get caught, you are going to repeat the same mistake again, and you are going to be careless from next time also. So this is what I do. Another benefit is that others can also learn from your own mistakes. The same mistake that you do, others might also have committed the same mistake, but since you put this out for everyone, they can also be more careful from next time. And last and the most important benefit of it is that you don't feel like a petty human being who is irresponsible and don't own up to their mistakes. I think this is the most important thing about being accountable to others for your mistakes. Don't feel low about them, own up your mistakes. Now let's take this accountability to another level, which is known as taking responsibility. Now there's a famous quote: when you take responsibility of others, your own needs get taken care of automatically. Now this might seem absurd right now, but I'm going to explain it how it does, with some practical examples of some famous people. Now Simon Sinek, a famous American author and a motivational speaker, has also pointed this out, that there is a growing industry of self-help, but a lot less focus is being put on helping others. There's no section of books known as helping others. But I believe that self-improvement happens as a byproduct of taking responsibility. You can see this in your daily life too. If you see your parents, your teachers, or maybe other officers, what they are today is the byproduct of the responsibilities they have had. Your parents are emotionally mature and take better decisions because they have spent so much time in taking care of their relatives, of their children, and that's how they have built that decision making abilities. And the same goes with our teachers and the officers at some big posts. Our prime minister, for example, he has good decision making skills because of the position he is in. Now there are many other examples of people too, famous people too, like Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So he was a famous aerospace scientist and president of India. He has inspired a lot of people there, but the person that he became was because of the responsibilities that he took. He took the responsibility of being the president of India, and he took the responsibility of heading Indian space missions. So that's how he became the person he was. If we talk about Gandhiji, so he took the initiative of getting India freedom. So he was able to do that by working on himself also. He had to build that self-discipline because he knew that to help others, he also had to build himself. Every day when there was a march or there was some rally, he used to spend 2-3 hours in the morning in meditation so that he can prepare himself from the day that was going to come ahead. If you see in hindsight that it was his responsibility that helped him improve himself. So I'm going to talk about this excerpt from this book called Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. So the excerpt goes: the alchemists spent years in their laboratories observing the fire that purified the metals. They spent so much time close to the fire that gradually they gave up the vanities of the world. They discovered that the purification of metals had led to the purification of themselves. This is a very beautiful excerpt, and what I understand from this is that self-improvement happens as a byproduct, and you become more pure with more pure intentions when you are devoted to a purpose or a responsibility, and you become less distracted in life. So that's what my takeaway is. And the more responsibility you have, the more happiness you will get. That's what the nature also wants us to do, because as we grow up, the amount of responsibilities keep on increasing, and I think that's a natural course of life. So now I'm going to talk about some practical examples of taking responsibility in a way that it will also going to help you. So for example, if you want to save money, maybe you can organize a committee or a kitty, whatever you call it, to save some money together as a group. If you want to launch a podcast or a YouTube channel, I would say that join a community of people who are doing the same, and maybe even announce it to the world of when you are going to launch your first episode or your first video. Let's say if you want to achieve financial independence, what you can do is that organize some webinars, some events that help other people also in achieving financial independence, then I am sure that one day you are also going to do that because you are helping others people do the same. Now I'm going to summarize the entire episode. Accountability is cool. Don't run away from accountability. I think it is the only thing that helps you grow. It helps you do the right thing and keeps you on track. So don't be afraid of accountability. Embrace the accountability. Take responsibility of others if possible. I think taking responsibility of others is what helps you grow. Taking responsibility of others automatically takes care of your own needs and it helps you to be a better person in life. The last thing I wanted to say is that have a bias for action. Go out and take action, implement these things in life, not just listen to this podcast. Thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode, guys. I hope it's helped you in some way. And if you liked the episode, then please do share this with your friends and do press that follow button on whatever platform you are listening on. I would be back with another episode in next week. Till then, see you. Bye.